Melody Shari sat down with Ebony magazine for her exclusive interview. She gave us not just answers, but a whole sermon about why she finally walked away from the show that made her a household name. And baby, let me tell you, when she said she was leaving the Lion's Den, she did not stutter. But just when you thought that was enough drama, here comes Ms. Wanda storming onto the scene, allegedly trying to lure Melody back. But not for peace, not for unity, not for the fans. Nope, for Arrione Curry. Yes, you heard me right. This is one of those stories where every detail unlocks another twist, so sit tight, because by the end of this video, we're going to piece together whether Melody's exit is the end of an era or just the start of an even messier storm. Let's start with what Melody actually said in her interview with Ebony. Now, we all know she officially announced back in January that she was leaving Love and Marriage Huntsville after 9 seasons. 9 seasons, y'all. That's nearly a decade of her life being ripped apart on national television, her marriage exposed, her divorce turned into a circus, her kids constantly being dragged into storylines, and let's not even start with the women who were thrown at her ex-husband, just to keep the drama boiling. In this interview, though, Melody wasn't just making an announcement, she was giving a testimony. She looked dead into that camera and said, "Whenever you walk away from the lion's den, why would you go back to where the lions are?" Whew, baby, that's scripture. That's clarity. That's a woman who has been through the fire and decided she ain't getting burned again. And it wasn't just about walking away from the show. This was about reclaiming peace. Melody made it crystal clear that she had no regrets, no second-guessing, no lingering desire to return. She said she had given enough, sacrificed enough, and endured enough humiliation for the sake of reality TV ratings. And let's be honest, y'all, she carried that show on her back for 9 seasons. Point blank, period. But you know what hit fans the hardest? The way Melody spoke about protecting her peace. Because for a long time, viewers could see it. How drained she looked, how the constant attacks were aging her, how she was holding it all together just to push through filming. And when she finally said no more, it was like watching a woman finally close a chapter and pick up the pen to write her own story again. Now, let's pivot to the part that has fans gagging. According to whispers in the Huntsville streets, Ms. Wanda, yes, Tisha's mama, the queen of stirring the pot, allegedly wants Melody to come back to the show, but not for some kumbaya reunion. Not for healing, not for closure. Oh no, baby. According to the whispers, this is about none other than Arrione Curry. Chile, let me break this down. Arrione, the long-rumored mistress turned household name because of her affair with Martell Holt, has been looming in the shadows of this show for years. Fans have debated whether she should be on screen, whether she deserves a voice, or whether she's just been fueling the fire for her own clout. And while she's never been a main cast member, her presence has always been felt, like a ghost haunting every scene. So here's where it gets wild. Allegedly, Ms. Wanda sees Arrione as the perfect piece of fresh drama to keep Lamb alive now that Melody is gone. But to do that, she supposedly wants Mel back on screen to face off with Arrione. Y'all, can you even imagine that showdown? This ain't just a story. It's a recipe for an explosion. On one side, you've got Melody, who has fought tooth and nail to rebuild her life after Martell's betrayal. On the other, you've got Arrione, who has always felt dismissed, mocked, and excluded from the narrative. And standing in the middle, Ms. Wanda stirring that pot like she's cooking. Sunday dinner. Now, y'all already know, social media went crazy at the very idea of this. The comments under the Ebony post alone could fill a novel. One fan wrote, "Melody has healed too much to ever sit across from that woman. Own better not even try it." Another chimed in, "Why does Wanda always want to drag Mel back into chaos? Let that woman breathe." But then there were the messy ones. You know, the ones who want drama at any cost. They were like, "Oh, I would pay to see Melody and Arrione in the same room." Another messy fan wrote, "Wanda knows exactly what she's doing. If Arrione comes on, the ratings will skyrocket." And listen, say what you want, but they might not be wrong. Because if OWN is looking at numbers, baby, a Melody versus Arrione face-off would break the internet. Still, the overwhelming tone online was this: leave Melody out of it. She's done her time. She gave us her truth. She survived the lion's den. She doesn't need to step back into the ring just so the rest of the cast can eat off her pain one more time. Here's where things get even more interesting. Behind the scenes, there are whispers that not everyone in the cast is on board with this alleged Wanda plan. Some of the cast, allegedly Kimmy and maybe even Stormy, are said to be cautious about pushing Melody back into the spotlight alongside Arrione. They know it could get messy beyond repair. And honestly, some of them might be scared of how fans will turn on them if they look like they're exploiting Mel. But others, oh baby, they're all for it. Because let's be real, without Melody, the show is already feeling like it's missing its heartbeat. The ratings, the social media buzz, the headlines, they don't hit the same without her. And adding Arrione, that's like throwing gasoline on an open flame. And you better believe Martell is caught in the middle of all this. Because if Arrione ever comes on the show, guess who's going to have to answer some hard questions? That's right, Martell. And judging by how messy he's been on social media lately, I don't think he's ready for that kind of smoke. But here's the part that really matters. Melody doesn't even need this show anymore. She's building empires. She's releasing music. She's speaking at conferences. She's empowering women. She's out here living proof that you can walk away from toxicity and still shine. And that's why fans are so protective of her. Because for once, we've seen a reality TV star break free from the machine and actually thrive. When asked directly in the Ebony interview if she would ever return, Melody's answer was sharp, clear, and final. She's not interested. She said she's in a season of peace, and she's not going to sacrifice that for anyone or anything. Period. And honestly, that's the kind of boundary we can all learn from. Now here's the million-dollar question. Is Wanda really trying to bring Melody back for Arrione, or is this just another round of Huntsville gossip that got blown out of proportion? We all know Wanda loves to stir things up. She thrives on chaos. She lives for the mess. But would Own actually go there? Would Carlos King really bring Arrione into the fold and risk alienating the entire fan base that has rallied around Melody for years? It's risky, it's messy, but let's be real. This is reality.